Hey everyone, so welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be reviewing some more Star Wars Black Series figures. I like Star Wars quite a bit, so that's going to be quite a bit of focus. I do have some Marvel and Transformers stuff that's been in my pipeline for a while, but I'm trying to play catch up in terms of reviewing what toys I have. So there's going to be a bit of like a huge difference in style. The first batch is going to be kind of from like maybe 3 months ago, while the other one's from when I was recording this video. So maybe some of my criticisms on the figures might be not as relevant. But yeah, let's just jump straight into it. I think it was the Carbon series Paz Vizla, which is the Jon Favreau character from The Mandalorian. And yeah, I opened up this figure because my fiance had gotten it for my birthday. And this figure is probably the best one from the Carbon series. I think it's called Carbon. Let me just check really quickly. This figure was part of the Carbonized collection, which was kind of like a special coating on the figures that made them look more metallic. Honestly, a lot of the figures looked really bad, and of all the ones that made sense, Paz Vizla or Heavy Mandalorian was the only one that really did, mostly because you had the Scout Trooper, you also had the Shore Trooper, both of which should not be very shiny and glimmering. Like, they shouldn't be shiny like Twilight vampires in the sun, pretty much. And yeah, so this figure was also a deluxe figure too, so it's a little bit on the more expensive side. I believe we spent about maybe $31 to $34. I think I'm right now getting to the point where with these Black Series Deluxe figures, it's not really worth buying them unless they like go on clearance on sale or on sale, and that does happen quite a bit when it comes to Targets. Target has a bit of like a huge distributing problem right now, mostly because I think prior to like Halloween this year, they were like listing a lot of their Black Series figures for on clearance, and then maybe like 2 or 3 weeks after, those clearances disappeared, but then they returned the figures at full price. And that specific figure, there's a figure specifically that had that issue, which I'll get into in a second. So his figure was okay, pretty heavy, bulky. I like that the Gatling gun kind of like adds on, and there's a really good heft to his figure. My only real main criticism for this figure was the battle skirt that goes like that's behind him. It felt really weird. Like, I don't really remember seeing that on his character's design on the Mandalorian series, but it kind of just made me think of like almost like a kind of like a wet diaper. It makes it really awkward when you're adding on to his gun, just because it kind of gets in the way. There's like a little tiny divot where you can just plug the gun in and just he can. Looks like it's revving up. Aside from like the little weird back skirt thing, which I think would benefit if they did more of a cloth. It's a pretty good figure. Definitely of the carbonized design, this one it was the only one worth getting. I also picked up 2 characters from the Bad Batch. I picked up Wrecker, as well as I picked up Echo. These were kind of like a great example of like not waiting for them to go on clearance, because they sold out pretty quickly. Wrecker is also another deluxe figure, and he has a bit of heft too, kind of similar to Paz Vizla. Very good articulation, like this, and then like the soft goods in the joint area is like it. My main criticism about Commander Cody and Darth Revan was that the joints for those figures felt weird. I think by this point it felt like it was resolved. But that being said, though, it was kind of hard to like do kind of certain poses with him, just because it felt a little bit limiting. But his figure is pretty good. I do think he's worth picking up. Good design, good size, good heft, lots of mobility, lots of movement. Well, I don't know. I think it's something I noticed when I was trying to pose him. It was kind of hard to do just because of how like restricting clone armor is. So I guess, even though the joints felt a lot better than Commander Cody or Darth Revan, it still felt like it was limiting. Which there was another figure that I got recently too, which I will be reviewing, that kind of resolved that problem. But yeah, aside from that, good figure, definitely worth picking up as well too. Echo is also a really good figure to pick up as well. Design wise, attachments, it's all really good. Good Good mobility, good joint articulation. Bow skirt looks pretty good too. The only real main caveat I had with it was his helmet. The helmet was like really tough to put on. Mostly just because it's just like the backstory with Echo is that he has like kind of like a detachable helmet from like locks in the back because he's like part android, and the way that you put it on for like this figure, it's a little bit on the awkward side. Mostly just because I like the fraction of like getting it into the holes or into the divots is like really tough to do. So to the point where I think for my figure, I just leave it be in the back, kind of like unattached, I guess. So yeah, it's like the figure, the head and the back is like the helmet's never fully like locked into place. I'm a little disappointed, but it's still a pretty good figure. Up next, I picked up the Halloween Clone Trooper from 2022. This is probably one of the best figures I probably bought in. It has really good articulation. The joints issue that I had with Commander Cody was resolved, and on top of it, because like the joints aren't, so if you look at closely, the elbow and the knee joints are like loose and like they're separated, like they're just soft goods. So there's literally a lot more room for movability as well as posing. So honestly, it's like a really good figure. Helmet technically is also removable too, if that's something that you're interested in as well. And the things that come with it are super cute. It comes with a recolor of like it's a recolor of Maz Kanata's like I think treasure box, and then you also get like a zombie looking pork as well as chocolate. Also, just to add, I wasn't initially a fan of the plastic free packaging. I know there's been a lot of fear in terms of like opening up a toy that you just purchased and then someone doing a figure swap, since that's been kind of like a reoccurring joke. But opening up this figure was like a really nice treat, just because like you got to unfold, felt like opening up like a gift from like a family relative, so to speak. So like kind of like that suspension of disbelief, and also it's also a really festive looking figure as well too. Even though I'm like still really scared of the idea of like plastic free packaging, this figure was very much a treat. Yeah, I can't really tell you enough. If you see this figure, or if you did see this figure, or hope you bought it, it's really good. So I bought Antoc Merrick, who is the blue leader from Rogue One. His figure is pretty good, really good detail, really good articulation as well too. I mean, he's a pilot, so you're still kind of pretty limited to the poses as well as to like the joint and articulation, I guess, to an extent. This is actually the example of Target screwing up with their distribution process, where they send out figures, but like because of like something back at HQ, they're clearancing these figures at like maybe 50 to 75% off. So I purchased him for like maybe $7.50, when in actuality he should have been like $27 because he's a Target exclusive. You actually can probably still find him discounted, but last time I checked at some of the stores, he was now at full price. I don't know what Target's thinking, but I mean, yeah, that was a good find. Nothing really bad about him. Good figure, good details on him, and I would definitely, if I was looking to army build, he is definitely a good base model to do it with. I also bought this Boba Fett figure too, which is the deluxe version. I don't know how I feel about this. I personally don't think this figure should have been a deluxe figure, especially in comparison to like Wrecker and Paz Vizla. But the figure itself is actually pretty good too. Knee joints, as well as articulation. This articulation in general just feels really good on him. A lot of movability, as well as like interesting ways you can pose him. So I had the biggest difficulty putting on Boba Fett's EE3 blaster. I don't know why, but like it doesn't actually fit in his arm. So I actually have it like lying onto the side, and I just have it kind of like his pose in like a gunslinger type of pose. Good figure, good heft. He feels good. Like another main caveat I have with him is the helmet. I definitely like let the other figures slide. The other figures are definitely like they nail it in terms of like being able to put on the head and stuff. But when it came to putting on Boba Fett, he just doesn't seem to like want to keep his head on, or it looks like the the lower jaw is exposed every time I put it on. So there is like this weird like soft goods problem, I think. But aside from that, it's a good figure. Personally, I would wait till it goes on clearance. I got it for $22 at Target, and that was the clearance price. So for me, that was something I was more comfortable spending at. And then lastly, my last figure I purchased was the Credit Collection Armor from the Mandalorian series. This figure was okay. It was just pretty basic, pretty straightforward. I can't really pose her just because the way that her skirt is shaped, it doesn't really allow for a lot of flexibility. Interesting like attachments as well too. Her fluffy soft goods thing that goes on her shoulders keeps falling off, and that's also I guess the problem I had with Boba Fett too, where his jetpack keeps falling off. Her little tiny coat thing on her shoulders kept falling off, as well as Boba Fett's. I guess it's not a total deal breaker because it can just snap back on. Overall, not a bad figure. I mostly just bought it because I wanted to get the credit, and after picking one up, I realized it's not really worth it because it's just not a hollow piece, but it's not a full like flat piece of plastic. It's just there's like little indentures, like, so it's a little bit of like, I wouldn't say a rip-off, but I would say maybe half-assed. So my final verdict for these toys, Paz Vizla, good, definitely worth getting. Wrecker, good. Echo, good. Halloween Clone Trooper, amazing, make sure to get that. Boba Fett, good, but go down in price at least. Definitely don't think it's worth $30. Blue Leader, especially if you can get it for like $7.50, very good. And then also Armor, okay. I guess that was also something really cool about the Armor too, was I got her during the GameStop 50% off sale. Definitely go check that out if you are looking to pick up some Black Series or Vintage Collection figures. Anything that's clearance, you get an additional 50% off. So I don't know what's happening. It seems like as if GameStop is like just almost calling it quits and they're just trying to liquidate all their assets. There's been like some like really cool toys that they've been releasing as well too. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you guys enjoyed this content, feel free to like and subscribe. If you guys liked my toy review, please tell me which one of the toys that I reviewed was your favorite. Again, my personal favorite was the Halloween Clone Trooper. And yeah, I will catch you guys for the next one. Bye!